Since 1736, New York City's public hospital system was notoriously filthy and understaffed, little more than poorhouses, where the city's less fortunate went to suffer and die. The service workers that labored in the public hospitals would come to know some of the nation's worst working conditions and lowest wages. For more than 200 years, the city's sick and their caretakers would suffer without quality health care, dignity, or respect. In November 1954, Local 420 was formed with several hundred hospital workers who made up DC 37's Joint Board of Hospital Locals.
Membership, working conditions, communication with management. Those were big things at that time.
Over the next 50 years, Local 420 would become a powerful voice for quality public health care, would win respect and dignity for its members, and would become an institution strong enough to win decent standards of living for hospital workers.
420 is the union with District Council 37, who had indeed fought the battle for the better wages, fought the battle for the dignity and the rights of the workers, fought the battle for the progressive days that we have today.
Today, Local 420's members are the backbone of the largest and best public health care system in the country. From its inception, 420 has always been a fighting union. Its membership, largely black, Hispanic, immigrant, and female, has never just settled for bigger paychecks and better working conditions. They have fought tirelessly for social justice and dignity to the same degree that they have fought for workers' rights. In its first decade, Local 420 focused much of its energy in the civil rights movement.
I wish I knew how it would feel to be free.
Jerry Worth, DC 37's charismatic leader at the time, fostered and built up labor's natural coalitions within the civil rights movement. The year after Local 420 was formed, Worth assigned future civil rights leader James Farmer to organize the city's hospital workers. The grievances were seldom built around money, Farmer wrote. They were built around two words: decency and dignity, to feel that you are somebody of importance. Farmer went on to become the founding director of the Congress of Racial Equality, and when Martin Luther King Jr. and A. Philip Randolph organized the historic March on Washington, Local 420 was there to provide people, power, and money to the cause.
It became a very brotherly, sisterly operation all the way up to Dr. King.
Then you'd see and agree that every man should be free.
Local 420 grew due to the efforts of powerful visionaries such as Jerry Worth's successor at DC 37, Victor Gottbaum. In 1965, Gottbaum led 6,000 social workers out on strike for 28 days. Because Gottbaum showed that it was possible to strike the city, New York was forced to create the Office of Collective Bargaining.
When the unions finally won the right of collective bargaining, that's the first time the workers were then able to be leveled in terms of getting the equal salary in the titles in which they were in.
If you didn't have a Local 420, you would not have citywide bargaining as it is today.
This strike marked the arrival of a passionate young organizer named Lillian Roberts.
Well, I joined AFSCME in 1958. I was in Chicago at the time. And then I started working with Victor Gottbaum. He asked that I stay and help them to organize Local 420.
After the strike, under the guidance of Lillian Roberts, Local 420 members stepped up to the plate and fought to represent all of the city's municipal hospital workers. Roberts ran the campaign around the issues of education, training, and upgrading, and promised Local 420's members respect and upward mobility for the first time.
Their self-esteem was very low. They were treated like nothing.
You got to treat their aides with respect. They're not here to be called, hey, you, come here. They have a title. They've qualified. Plus, they're healthcare workers. One of the most important levels of our entire society. I don't care whether you go to the armed forces, take a trip to space, or you're around the corner and you faint in the street. When you're getting your medical care or when they're taking you to get your medical care. Never mind the doctors, you'll see them, the ambulance drivers, you may remember them. But the first person that might be very close to you that you pay attention to may be your nurse's aide. Could well be, long before the social worker and other titles get to you. They're the ones who might have to undress you so you can see the doctor.
One of the things that I did was to change the uniforms of the nurses' aides to put them in white.
We negotiated a white uniform, white stockings. They had an insignia which said nurse aides, and it gave them a sense of pride and dignity.
When the union election day came, Local 420 narrowly won the right to represent the city's 17,000 hospital workers. The victory made Local 420 the largest hospital workers local in the country and made DC 37 the largest municipal union in the land.
This union has used the education department to give real career meaning to all our members, not just the usual promotional opportunity stuff, but we have the best high school equivalency programs so they can promote upward and develop upward.
After the election, Lillian Roberts lobbied the Department of Labor for a training grant for Local 420 members.
I went to Washington to see that if we had won, whether we could get funds, which we did get funds, to train nurses' aides and individuals to upgraded positions. I felt that it's always a crime to talk about not having nurses and not having technicians and things of that nature when you have all the human resources to make these things happen. All you needed was the necessary training.
In September 1969, 385 nurses' aides completed the 14-month work-study course and were licensed as LPNs.
Because I knew that if that class passed, the next class would be easier because they would be more at ease knowing that, oh, this individual passed, and so I can do it too, and that's what happened.
And in their first contract, the hospital workers negotiated with the city. Local 420 members won on-the-job training and in-house technician titles for a variety of hospital aides who were more skilled and performing a higher level of work.
You had people that moved from, let's say, the bottom of the ladder that became technicians in the late 60s, early 70s, careers they never thought were possible.
I feel that along with the wages, hours, and working conditions when you negotiate, is that you have to permit the opportunity for one to rise as high as they feel that they can go and create an atmosphere whereby the worker would have to live up to that kind of prestige.
It brought us dignity, and it's something that we didn't have prior to the organizing of Local 420. We were looked upon as the low man on the totem pole, but with the strong leadership within Local 420, was able to gain that respect, that dignity, to have the managers to look at us like we were somebody and that we are people to be dealt with. This is what 420 is about.
And that was a wonderful time for Local 420.
Throughout the next 4 decades, Local 420 fought against racism, sexism, and bias against the poor at every chance and in every corner of the world.
The more you refuse to hear my voice, the louder I will sing. You hide behind walls of Jericho. Our lies will come tumbling. Deny my place and time. You squander wealth that's mine. My light will shine so brightly it will blind. 'cause there's something inside so strong, so strong. I know that I can make it. Oh, you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, there's something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong.
Ever since the 1950s, Local 420 has been on the front lines, protecting New York City's public hospitals. They have fought against relentless attempts to cut hospital budgets and to lay off desperately needed hospital staff. Local 420 has always fought with an arsenal of political weapons. Strikes at hospitals, demonstrations at City Hall, petition drives, and letter-writing campaigns have been deployed by the hundreds, all in the name of protecting public health and the hard-won decency of the healthcare profession.
Fighting for the rights of the workers, fighting and demanding for the proper salary for the workers, and mostly fighting for the dignity of the workers.
They always fight for patients' right. They always fight for members' right, all the time.
And that's what the Local 420 struggle is all about, respect and dignity.
At the helm of many of these battles was Local 420's former president, James Butler.
He built this local not only to the size, but to the stature that it is today. He's fired up, can't take no more. I remember him with his cross and his coffin. There were battles that he took on by himself, and he had no help from any other labor leader. You know, and some people thought that he was crazy, but in the end, he was victorious.
In 1976, James Butler led a strike against the closing of Morrisania, Harlem, and Sydenham hospitals. The very next year, the city moved to close or privatize Kohler, Sydenham, and Gouverneur, and threatened citywide layoffs in the hospitals. It was up to Local 420 to show the city and the world that public health care mattered.
When they close the clinic in the community, people are suffering. They don't have the right decent health care. They have to go someplace else. Sometimes they go to the private sector, and they don't accept them.
Because they try to privatize it, terminate their jobs, so we had to struggle, we had to fight, we had to keep it open so people could keep feeding their families.
If it was not for Local 420, just about all of your public hospitals would have been given away.
Local 420 led 15,000 hospital workers in a 4-day strike.
Take their rights, their health insurance away to move into private companies and privatization.
Hospitals would be built, they were new, and next thing you know, the affiliate were going to take it over, said there's no resources, and I couldn't see where they could do anything any cheaper, so that was a farce.
In the 70s and the 80s, 420 was fighting for its life. There were layoffs galore. I mean, in 1 year, there was the possibility of 1,500 layoffs. You're talking about a local that is now, in size, cut in half. So you can see where there was the need for organizing, for agitation, for a more aggressive communication with the city of New York and the health and hospitals, and an alliance with the community.
The face of Local 420 is much the same today as it was in 1954, fighting proudly for human rights and for economic justice for its members.
Local 420 is not a union that just stays in one place, but has helped people all over the Caribbean. Local 420 always reaches out to others.
Local 420 members opened the new millennium by electing Carmen Charles to lead the union.